Thank you for joining us on our Heart to Heart Talks, where we are coming from three different countries, three Abrahamic religions, to speak to our hope, our humanity, and healing. We're talking about hope, humanity, and healing. We're going to introduce a little bit about ourselves today with you, and we invite you to share your ideas below as well, because you matter and your voice matters. So today, we're going to do a little bit of an introduction. We have Dr. Mitch Abrams with us. He's coming from Canada. Tarek Saab, he's coming from the Middle East. And myself, who is here speaking from the USA. Today, we are introducing and going to discuss the heart with Dr. Mitch Abrams. He is a radiologist from Canada, and he is an educator on the heart. He's certified as a compassion educator with Stanford University. So I'm really excited. Dr. Mitch, you want to introduce a little bit about yourself to our viewers?
Yeah, thanks. Thank you, Crystal. And it's really wonderful to be with the both of you, and very excited to share about the heart. I mean, everybody has one, and it's really so much more than just a pump. So just to give you a little bit of my background, I am a practicing radiologist, and early in my medical career, I actually had to have open heart surgery. And at that time, when I became a patient, I really became aware that how we study and define health and well-being and healing is extremely narrow in scope. There's something fundamentally missing. And ironically, as I shortly returned back to work, I was appointed the chief of our department. So at that moment, I realized that our entire system really is just not sustainable. It's so outdated. And, there's a huge, burnout epidemic and a degree of compassion fatigue. And so at that time, it really became a mission of mine to bring more heart into healthcare and really into the world. And this journey of exploration and research I found myself on led me to India in the Far East. And it was in India that I realized that there's an entire discipline of science that we're just not exposed to. And however you label it, the science of mind, the science of consciousness or interconnectedness, it is a true and deep science. And, when we begin to think of ourselves in terms of energy, and I'll show this in a presentation that I created for all of you, but really, the moment we begin to reframe how we understand ourselves as energetic beings and how we can claim our inner agency, it not only brings hope and a new level of healing and to help us claim our inner agency, but it also provides a path for better understanding our interconnectedness, how to build trust, how to create deeper compassion within our communities. And it does put us on a path towards a brighter future that's very distinct from our past. Brighter future that's distinct from past, yeah.
That's awesome. And then we have Tarek coming from the Middle East. He's a Reiki master. Hi, Tarek.
Hello, both of you. I'm so glad to join you as well. My name is Tarek Saab. I live in Lebanon, but I studied in Spain. All my alternative healing therapies like Reiki, pendulum healing. I'm a facilitator for a guided meditation, the Ho'oponopono as well. And I studied in Thailand, a couple of holistic healing massages. And as Dr. Mitch said, I focus as well on the heart chakra. The heart chakra, which is the middle between the seven chakras that we have, which is for compassion, for balance, for unity. And I always focus on how to maintain and to treasure our heart, because everything starts from the heart, everything starts from the self. And this is what brought us together in this heart to heart talk that we're going to be sharing, always highlighting some important topics from different perspectives, different lenses, so that we can bridge the gap that is
Bridge.
among all of us in a nice harmonic way, so that we can bring us all together. Yeah, that's it.
And I love that you shared that, because that is really what we're here to show you guys. Is we want to share with you, just because we come from different backgrounds, different points of view, different educations, doesn't mean we can't connect at the heart level, which is what we're doing. And we're going to be discussing different topics, how to have trust in an untrusting world. That's one of them. And just different things from different points of view. And we invite you to comment below and join us. Share what your perspectives are as well, because you matter and your points of view matter too. My name is Crystal Adams Scott, and I'm the founder of an organization in the US called Hope Unite. Not Hope United. Everybody wants to say that, so I'm just clarifying. It's Hope Unite, because the goal of why I named it that was to unite hope. And I can share right now, we are definitely three individuals that are focused on bringing you hope. You may get some of what we're saying, you may not get some of what we're saying, and that's fine because we're all different. But stick around because I'm sure you're going to get something. So today, I know Dr. Mitch Abrams, he has a TED Talk. We're going to put the link below. And what's the name of that TED Talk, Dr. Mitch?
The medicine of frequencies. What did Einstein mean?
Okay, so that's an amazing talk. I watched it, and that's actually one of the things that brought me to Dr. Mitch. So it's genius, and I'm looking forward to hear more on explaining heart and brain coherence to our audience and what that actually looks like.
Okay. Well, I created a small little presentation. As a radiologist, I'm a visual thinker. I want to take us all on a little journey. Okay. And this journey is going to start with your heart. But by the end of this journey, we're going to shift the global worldview because we are in a moment of deep transformation. Mm-hmm. Again, just to share with you, this perspective I'm sharing is one part very scientific as a doctor, a radiologist, very science-minded, and as well through my own personal experience as an open heart surgery patient, my own experience healing through that realization that there's something fundamentally missing in the way that we even define and study health and wellness in the Western world. Mm-hmm. And realizing that our systems, as you know, as I mentioned, I was the department chief, that our systems really are just not sustainable at this point. Definitely. And not just completely outdated. So, as I mentioned, I found myself in India realizing that there's an ancient wisdom, a science that we're just not exposed to in the West. However you label it, the science of mind, connection, consciousness, it's a true science. And this science describes energy, the same, the energy that constitutes all of us in the world. And this was a huge wake-up call for me personally, because as a radiologist, we literally non-invasively dissect the human body like a loaf of bread, right? You go into a machine called an MRI scanner and we'll explore the human body, your brain, for instance, all without a scalpel blade. And this is all possible because we are all beings of energy. We're all beings of light. Your cells are made of molecules are made of atoms, and the atoms are made of 99.999999999% space, high vibration of energy. And so when we begin to think in these terms, we begin to recognize, my goodness, that we are so much more than just what the physical world is showing us, what we're perceiving. There's a deeper truth, and this has serious implications. So if you want to learn more about this and explore the heart, I invite you to check out this TEDx talk, The Medicine of Frequency. What did Einstein mean? And what I really want to bring your attention to in this moment is that we're shifting from an old perspective, that, Isaac Newtonian perspective of separation, meaning that we used to think that you're made up of these atoms, made up like little marbles or bits, and that your bits and my bits are separate, and that your bits are separate from the bits of the world that you're experiencing. But the 2022 Nobel Prize in Physics was awarded to three gentlemen that experimentally proved that we're actually all part of a non-local, entangled universe, meaning that we're not separate. We're all made of vibration, of energy, of fields, and that we're all deeply interconnected to each other. You are deeply interconnected to the world that you are experiencing. So there's this massive shift in the way that we are understanding the world. It changes the way that we understand ourselves and our relationships to each other. And so in order to help to help you with this transition, I create a little toolkit that will help you claim inner agency, help you better understand this knowledge, this context, so that you can be healthier physically, mentally, emotionally, and help you support your relationships with others. And as well, I believe this provides a lot of hope for the future. So the first tool I'm going to give you all is a lens. This is called the medicinal mandala lens. And as Da Vinci said, we just have to learn how to see. We have to realize that everything connects to everything else. So let me just show you this lens for a moment because it's really important. Right now, this lens, this diagram, is made up of two superimposed images. Einstein is staring at the centerpiece called a vector equilibrium. This is related to the 1996 Nobel Prize in Chemistry because it represents perfectly balanced energy. So in this image, it represents our modern science, our modern understanding of energy and through a lens of technology. The background lotus flower that His Holiness the Dalai Lama is staring at, this is an ancient symbol. It's been around for thousands of years, and it's always represented the science of mind, the science of consciousness and interconnectedness. And just take a moment that you can appreciate that these two images are superimposed and they weave into each other. Yeah? Right? They occupy the same space. And the reason why is because they share a very specific mathematic ratio. And when we tune into this ratio, it brings deeper meaning to understanding who we are, how the body works, and how we are interconnected to each other. So just to say, once you put this lens on, one of the first things that you'll recognize is that when you look out at the cosmos, right, which is actually the right-hand side of this image, the distribution of mass and energy, and what you're looking at is super clusters of galaxies and then galaxies, and the energy distribution at a cosmic level, at a universal level, that distribution of energy and mass is at scale identical to the distribution of mass and energy of your neural network of your brain, which is the left-hand image. This is from a research study that was conducted in collaboration with a neurologist or neurosurgeon and an astrophysicist. And quantitatively at scale, you can see, and what they've shown is that information is the same. So if you imagine information at the cosmic level, each of us, we're all a manifestation of that information. You are an expression of the universe. You have information flowing through you, and you're an expression of the universe. And this is really important because if you think about, times of, when you get a scratch or you break a bone, you don't have to tell your body how to heal. Your body has the intelligence to heal. So we are all that. We are all that information. We're an expression of that information. You are highly intelligent. And one of the key aspects of accessing that information is through our hearts. And in 1991, a physician by the name of Dr. Amour, he identified that the heart has its own little neural network, right? We can call it the little miniature heart brain, but this is a very intelligent network of cells, just like the cells in your brain. And part of this little heart brain, part of its role is that it will translate your experience, your emotions, into heart rhythms. All right. So this is now where we get into coherence. So here's an example of, let's say, two individuals. One individual is feeling anxious or feeling frustrated or irritated. You can see how the heart rate is very erratic and irregular over time. Whereas if another person is feeling love, feeling kindness or compassion, and you sustain that emotion, the heart rhythm becomes very regular and what we call coherent. And it becomes this beautiful sinus rhythm. Now, what you're looking at between these two images, the heart rhythms are truly a reflection of your nervous system. The balance between the two arms of the autonomic nervous system, so your sympathetic and your parasympathetic arms. And if and again, I invite you to check out the TED Talk, but we're not going to get too deep into it right now. But just to say that when you are feeling love and appreciation, your nervous system gets into this perfect balance, almost as if the two arms of your nervous system are now like dancing with each other. And When you are in that perfect balance, we call it coherence. When you're out of balance, like the red graph, it's incoherent. This has serious implications because this information is literally being sent up to the brain. It's being spread out to your entire body and affects the way that you think, how you act, how you feel. It affects how the body operates. And, research shows, and this is actually a very recent study, November 2025 out of UC San Diego. This research paper shows that when people practice these techniques, it literally transforms the way that your entire body functions. And in fact, they collected so much data and they leveraged the power of artificial intelligence to help them look at the entire body as a whole to see how are all of these different proteins, these molecules, how are all the different genetic expressions, how does it all fit together in a unified picture? And what it's showing us is that when you cultivate coherence, you're allowing the body to recalibrate and to express its inherent intelligence. So imagine you're allowing yourself to connect to that information, that high level of intelligence, the universe, right? That first image that I shared with you, you're tapping into that and you're allowing the body to express itself in its most inherent way. And research has shown that people who have this ability and learn how to self-regulate. Self-regulation is key. The research shows that those who have this ability, they're 50 times more likely to be alive in 15 years without chronic disease. So just to say that what we're talking about today is not a subtle, margin. This is a huge metric. And we know that stress is the biggest killer. It is the biggest primary, force that cultivates in disease.
So here's the question. Really quick, though. I want to just jump in because on this topic, I'm speaking to the viewers right now. We all go from coherence to incoherence as just human beings, and so I can just speak for myself. Yesterday, I want to say I was incoherent most of the day. So what does that mean? I was anxious. There was a lot of things on my plate. I was stressed out about work, going through something with my teenage 17-year-olds, had a confrontation with a friend, and I don't like those things at all. I try to step away from that. But these are things that presented in my world that I needed to manage. It just was what was handed to me on the plate. So today, I did my meditation. I read my Bible. That's one of the things I do. And I listened to frequency music. And then Dr. Mitch was kind enough to lead us all in a heart-brain coherence meditation before we started our talk. So I'm definitely feeling coherent now. So the reason I'm just bringing that to your attention, Dr. Mitch, is because I'd love for you to speak to the audience. What do you do about this part of life?
Absolutely. And so first things first is one, we have to identify our suffering. So one, we have to recognize that, yes, you are experiencing some sort of suffering or angst. And once we recognize that, then it's a matter of recognizing that our heart has this ability. Like, to recognize the suffering is to recognize that we're disconnected in some form or some fashion. And that's okay. That's life. But what is important to appreciate is that our heart has this ability to get us back into attunement. So to know that even if it takes 60 seconds, if you take 60 seconds out of your day, and I'm going to show you a technique that allows you to get back into your heart. The more that we can drop into the heart center, we can activate that little heart brain. And it supports you throughout your day. It can support you, through those challenging moments that you're describing, Crystal.
Right.
So one of the key things is just having that knowledge, having that awareness that your heart is more than a pump and that you can rely on it. And one of the key things as part of the work is to say, look, the mind is just like a muscle. Research shows that if you practice techniques, even if it's 20 minutes a day, that your brain, just like the muscles in your body, can change and get bigger. If you go to the gym for 2 months, that 20 minutes a day of mental practice will actually restructure your brain, and you will begin to feel lighter. You begin to feel like more in the flow of life and be able to handle the challenges in a very different way, because your body's not going to physiologically react like it used to. So just to say that by becoming aware that your heart has this power, this potential, and it will give you the strength and this buffer to be able to handle life in a very different way, I think is one of the most important, key aspects. Just having that
Yes.
knowledge.
It's
And
so it's all about awareness first. So it's
yeah,
bringing the awareness to your consciousness and then saying, okay, I'm feeling this. And then practicing a tool to get into coherence, whether it's meditation, and sometimes it's both, but whether it's, I want to say that.
but I agree with you. But the thing is, what's important is that most people, when they hear this word meditation, right away they think like, oh, you got to go sit in the corner of a quiet space and just kind of zen out for.
I've
But
heard people say, I can't do
yeah,
that for 2 minutes. I used to be
yeah.
one of those people.
But what I think is important is that, and this is part of the work that we do, is to show, look, you don't have, it's not necessarily meditation. It's about how to use the mind in the moment.
Mm,
Where are you placing your attention, and how
so
are
good.
you breathing? Because with those two techniques, you can actually access your heart. And you can do it. I could be doing it right now, right? In the middle of dialogue, or if you're having a challenging conversation or you're about to have a challenging phone call, you can actually take 30 seconds to tune into the heart and activate that heart intelligence. People talk about emotional intelligence. Well, emotional intelligence is deeply related to the heart intelligence and that little heart brain. So to your point, in order to navigate challenging times in life, it's becoming aware of the heart, number one, and two, knowing how to activate it, practicing these techniques. And I think that one of the biggest challenges for people is we forget. Even once we hear this conversation, you'll go out in the world, and it's unless we create a very specific practice,
Right.
it's easy for us to get lost in the chaos and lose a temper and whatnot. But the heart is key.
Would you say that practice is key? Practice. And
100%.
and
Yeah.
I'm reading this book. It's called 1% Better or something to that degree. And it's like, just even if you're just starting and you're hearing this for the first time and you're like, okay, I want to use some of these techniques, make sense, connecting the brain and the heart, bringing yourself into coherence, which is love, joy, peace, away from the anxiety. What small tools can you start today? So when I say that, I'm saying, as a busy person, everyone's busy here. I mean, life is busy, right? So it's saying, all right, I'm going to take 30 seconds today, and then tomorrow maybe 60 seconds, and kind of building a practice from there. What do you think? What are your thoughts on that, Dr. Mitch?
Yeah, absolutely. And certainly I invite everybody. I mean, so 6 p.m. Eastern time, Monday to Friday, I guide heart coherence calls online for free for people who are coming together, who are practicing self-care and recognizing that our heart is the common thread between self-care and community health and social well-being, really recognizing our common humanity. So getting into a practice, a routine, I think is really powerful, just like
Mhm.
going to the gym, but now is for your mind. And, I say, look, 5 minutes TID, 5 minutes 3 times a day. If you can literally just take 5 minutes of your day and you drop into your heart, recognizing your heart, that will make a huge difference in your life. It will make a huge difference in your day. 100%. Research shows it. Yeah.
So your PowerPoint,
Yes.
apologies for side questing.
So just to say that your heart has the power of your mind, your thoughts, and when you connect your thoughts and your attention to your heart, you're literally allowing your body to recalibrate, and it's changing the expression of the genes, the information that create all of the proteins for your life. And it's really about you, healing, thriving, really tapping in to your pure potential. Now, it's really important to also appreciate that when you feel heard, if you're in engaging with somebody or you feel compassion, the science shows that your heart rhythms synchronize with each other. Think about that. Your heart rhythms, when you're incoherent and you're kind of cultivating a sense of deep sense of connection, and if you send that intention to somebody else, the research shows that your rhythms can synchronize with each other. And medical science has shown that even 30 minutes of compassion prior to surgery will result in up to 50% less pain meds post-op, and that your post-op stay in hospital is statistically significantly reduced compared to those people who don't receive compassion. So this sense of connection and the fact that our heart rhythms and our nervous systems can connect energetically with each other has a huge implication when it comes not just to healing, but the way that we engage with each other, the way that we feel when we're around other people. Now, if you're wondering, well, how in the world does this work? Very simple. When you think of an EKG or an electrocardiogram, you're literally watching, the tracing of electricity through your heart. And we know that through physics, that anything that has electricity also creates this magnetic field. And hence, our heart is radiating a biomagnetic field. And this biomagnetic field is carrying with it the information of your emotions. That incoherent message radiating, or is it a coherent rhythm that's radiating out into the world? So this local field environment, as they call it, right, is literally filled with the information radiating from your heart, and it's based on what you're experiencing. And your heart is not just radiating, but it also listens. So think about now the next time that you show up to a party or the next time you engage your family, know that your nervous systems are actually speaking to each other and engaging with each other in, through information, through these energetic waves. And if you're coherent, you can pull people into coherence. You can help people feel safe. You can help people feel regulated through your own inner regulation. And this is
So my
really
11-year-old son who is arguing with me, I can pull him into coherence.